Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's another Tuesday. Perfect. It looks like we are live. Okay. Let's put in some final finishes into everything tech. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. You are welcome to our live today. Audio good. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please type in the comments so I can make sure you can hear me before we proceed. Otherwise, I'm gonna assume that I'm talking to myself. How are you guys doing? Let's see. I'm looking at my phone. See if I get a feedback. Yes. Okay. I hear my voice. How are y'all doing this evening? Who's live with us? Thank you for joining. I'm excited to be here as always. Yay, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Hi, Opeyemi, Abiola, Funke. Welcome. Good evening. How are you doing? How's your week going? I hope you're excited to be here. We're trying not to make this Monday nights where people are angry. It's the first day of the week. Kidding. But yeah, Tuesday is just great. Works great for a lot of people, and this is a great time. I am great. Abiola, thank you. Thank you for asking. I'm doing great. How are you? Okay, we're waiting a little bit for Dari to join us. He'll be joining us shortly. I guess he's trying to figure out the tech side of things on his side. He's had a pretty busy day. But I am very excited that we are here tonight. See you guys. When we're talking about contractors. Okay, I know a lot of you guys have questions about contractors. And why is this important? It is actually important because that's the best way to build equity on a property. So basically, if we can get a contractor to go into a property and get work done, we're probably a couple 10,000 richer and better. Darius here. Welcome. Good evening. Oh,
Hi, good
I can hear you.
evening.
Let's just see. Dari, keep talking. I just want to see, make sure I'm not echoing. Let's just see.
Hello, hi.
Okay.
Can
I
you
just
hear
want to
me?
see, make sure I'm not echoing. Perfect. Perfect. Because I'm using a kind of mic that can pick on your voice, and I didn't want that to happen. Okay. No echoes, hopefully. How are you? How's your day? Busy?
Busy. Was
Yeah.
good. It was a good day.
Yeah. We have six people here. We'll
Okay.
probably wait a little bit more for people to join us, or maybe now we can just get started. So I was talking about how it's important to do rehab.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us get into real estate investing thinking, oh, we're just going to throw some numbers. We're just going to do a quick walk through, or maybe not ever see a property, which is possible, which you can do, especially if you're an out of state investor. But we end up figuring or seeing that actually we have to deal with contractors. We have to know what a house should look like. And
Right.
why do we? Because that's actually the best way to be a couple $1,000s richer,
Mm.
because that equity is actually money. So when you fix the property, you're putting a ton of money into it. Not literally though. For example, you put in $10,000 into a property. that property can be worth $50,000 more, $100,000 more, $150,000 more,
Right.
depending on the kind of improvements you're making.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why this topic is important, because that's how people get rich. That's how you build generational wealth.
Mm.
It's called forced equity because you're forcing a lot of money into a
Right.
property.
Right.
If you wanted to wait for equity, you can do that as well. So you wait for a property to appreciate over time, which can be, can be slow, but can be fast, depending on what's going on in the world. Like the pandemic did a lot of good things to a lot of properties in
Mm.
terms of appreciation. Um, and then over the years, you just kind of have that slow build up. But if you didn't want to wait, if you wanted to put in quick cash, wanted to make a 50K extra, 80K extra on a property, the shortcut would be to improve the property. And
Right.
that's the big secret. Did you
Mm-hmm.
have something to say about that?
No, I mean, we all would have our starting points, whether we start by, partnerships or wholesaling or um, flipping, that's rehabbing. We all would have where we start from. It just depends on the goal at the end of the day, how much you want to make. Like you said, the shortest way to add value to a property and get some nice returns from that, it's doing a rehab. When you improve the property, you bring value to the marketplace, and then you can get rewarded handsomely. Sometimes seen people who've made hundreds of thousands on a single deal, and then some not so much. But yes, absolutely, I agree with your line of thought.
Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining us, knowing that this is very important for any successful real estate investor to get a hang of. So please introduce yourself. I know people have heard a lot about me. So I'm not going to talk about myself today or introduce myself. If you really want to, if this is the first time you're encountering me, please be patient. We'll talk about me next week. But if you really want to know, we have a bunch of trainings in this group where I always introduce myself. So let's go ahead and hear from Dari. Please tell us about you.
Um, Again, if you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Dari Olumorin, and I'm a partner, license builder, a developer, custom home builder, single family home builder, multi-family home builder, and I'm also part of the coaches that you have for Acquire Real Estate. We have a few people here that we partner with. I am one of the privileged coaches, especially when it comes to the project side of business. So when you come to actual rehabs or construction, I am the guy that handles that portfolio. So in a nutshell, that's what I do as per occupation. Professionally, I'm a trained medical physician. But occupationally, this is what I love doing, and this is what I do in this space.
Perfect. So tell us about like your journey in real estate investing, because a lot of us have different stories and journeys. What's it like? What's it been like?
It's similar to what you have. We started this journey, I believe it was 2017. For me, I think I'm not one of those people who from the 2010s, and early 20, maybe late 2019, early 2010s, that watched a bunch of HTV, HGTV,
HGTV.
all those bunch of remodeling shows, and decided that is what they wanted to do. It wasn't like that for me. I think it was back in 2017. We were trying to, we're welcoming our second baby, and we're trying to move from the place where we were, which was small, a little bit small, and now our family was increasing, and we had family coming over and all that, and we had that need to go look for a bigger, better space, and we were driving and searching, and searching through the market, bunch of properties that we saw. Some would have, things that we wanted, and some will have not so much things that we do not want. You find an apartment that has a good bathroom that we love, but the kitchen was horrible. So it just informed from there. It just sparked an interest and informed um, a desire within me. Or why don't we provide something that both us and people like us will be searching for? Um, you know, um, get a big space that is tastefully designed, that is large enough for an average size family, that is modern and all that. So that's for us. For me, that's where it started, and it's been great since then. We've been able to educate ourselves in the space, and we've been able to do a few projects that has met our initial goals and also that of our clients as well.
Hmm. So by a few, you mean probably over 45 deals.
Absolutely.
And I remember the story from when we are trying to get in, and we came across a real estate agent who said, I'm going to introduce you guys to real estate investing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like different. They wanted us to do like the traditional, and that was not what we were getting from like seminars and
Right.
yeah. So we're really naive. We had no clue.
Hmm.
So did we ended up what did we couldn't buy a property at the time because everything didn't meet our requirements.
Right.
So we ended up like staying
Settling.
in a condo,
Hmm.
being renters for a while
Mm.
until we actually built our own home.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny because we were landlords and we had a landlord. We had to pay money to.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of rental properties, but we were still tenants before
Mm.
we decided to move into a property that we custom made for ourselves,
Hmm.
which was a good one. Okay, thank you. So why real estate investing? If somebody wanted to go into real estate investing, what, why,
Um,
why do you think real estate investing is a great choice for people, or just generally speaking, because everyone is different?
right. So I'm generally looking at the um, real estate and compared to other maybe careers or things that other people do. I remember one of my mentees, Robin Thompson, was saying that if it's not real estate, it's not real.
A
And the
mentor.
reason is, yeah, a mentor, sorry. And the reason was because real estate is the only um, profession or business that actually affords you multiple exit strategies. Okay, so you do your regular 9 to 5, it's just going to be a 9 to 5. You do any other thing, even as a medical professional, it's just going to be, you know, one direction. That's just what you're going to do. You don't have the flexibility of, branching out and still maintaining your core integrity, the integrity of what you're doing. But real estate has been a revelation for us because you could start at a spot, maybe start as a wholesaler and then end up being a developer and do a bunch of things in between and still be a real estate investor. You don't have to change titles or change um, 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 disciplines. You can start anywhere and still have multiple exit strategies and still love what you're doing. So for me, that was a big thing, that I could be that flexible. I wouldn't be tied down to saying wholesaling or rehabbing or new constructions or even private money lending. I wouldn't be tied down to that. I could do all at once and still have the benefit of the knowledge and the exposure for all at once. So for me, that was a big thing. And then also the ability to take something really ugly and turn it into like a jewel, make it really beautiful, is something that always fascinates me. Like, we could get a property that is run down or a space that is, not habitable, just trees, and then, in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months, that thing is becoming not just valuable but a beauty, a jewel on the whole street. So for me, that is also very very tempting. I love the interaction I have with people, my contractors, and as well as buyers who interact with our work, and the feedback that we get from them. Oh, you made this, or you did this. This was my dream, bathroom. This was my dream kitchen. Oh, I love what you did with this. It's just beautiful to hear some of those testimonies. So for me, those are a few things that made me, just focus down on real estate investing.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I remember that first deal we had, like the Susan Road deal that
Yeah.
was all completely covered up in trees. You couldn't even
Mhm.
see the house. It was a
Mhm.
junk house.
Mm.
And by the time we were done, we did the aerial view. It looks like a brand new construction.
Yeah.
We got a lot of feedback from that, even online.
Right.
So how did
And the
you?
neighbors as well,
Yeah,
neighbors will come, they'll, bake you cookies. They want to, just
yeah,
appreciate what you're doing for them, for changing the whole outlook of the whole
street.
street.
Mm,
So it's really nice to see when that comes from a sincere place, and you're actually adding value to people's
yeah.
life. Mm.
And those at that time their property value was around 180,000 maybe max.
Right. Right.
And we did this property that was selling for 239,000.
Hmm.
So that means automatically that your
All
property is worth more. And so
right.
they definitely appreciate that when you go in there and do work on a property and you improve it. That means
Yeah.
people are appraising better. Your property is worth better on that street.
Right. Right. Right.
So if you had to talk about like finding deals, what if you had to do a quick run through on how we found deals starting out in real estate investing? I mean, of course, before we became coaches, we definitely went through a bunch of things, right? Before we could say, oh,
Yeah.
this is a clear pathway, this is better. Don't do this, don't waste your time doing this. How were we
Yeah.
finding deals in the beginning?
uh Wow, we did a lot of things. We did a bunch of things. We had mentors, we had coaches, we had um, real estate associations that would everybody's selling a strategy, right? Everybody
Mhm.
wants you to try something.
Yeah,
So we went through most of those things that we were offered, and we did a bunch that we're not really we didn't get we didn't get
value.
good results from them. But I still remember I believe our first deal that we did was a wholesale, right? And we got that off of bandit signs, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
that was the first fix and flip.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
fix and flip.
Mhm.
So we did bandit signs. We had postcards sent. We had letters written to property owners. We bought a bunch of lists. Um, we did cold calling.
Mhm.
Called a lot of people. Um, and then the later stages, we had built sufficient network of agents and wholesalers that we could get referrals, or we could get deals or pocket listings that are not on the market yet, sent directly to us, or agents that have properties that, even though it's on the market, but they exclusively want us to buy it. So they would give us the keys, and we'll go and check it out, and then we'll make better offers and get the properties. So there are a bunch of things that we did. But I feel everybody has to start somewhere, right?
Mhm.
Whether you're doing cold calling, bandit signs, whether it's by referral, or you have a good network of investors and wholesalers that will send you deals, whether you have a network of agents that would send you pocket listings. um, everyone has its potential. Every one of those means have their potential. Some people have done well with just wholesalers, and some
Yeah.
people have done well with just agents. We've done all, and we've seen some, not so good results with some, and then some very, very good consistent leads with other methods. So,
Mhm.
um, right now, at this stage, we can cherry pick. We can pick what we want. We can sieve through and say we don't want this, or we can, you know, uh, uh, share with other investors.
Mhm.
Um, but starting, we did all kinds of things. I remember we had our kids then in the car in the middle of the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., going around counties and dropping signs, lawns on people's lawns and all that. So you
Mhm.
could do all kinds of things, and we did all kinds of things. But
Yeah.
right now we're just, cherry picking what we want from agents, MLS, wholesalers, partners, just just across board. Whatever we get that we really like, we go for.
Mm-hmm. And that's one great thing about real estate investing or a good business. Once you build your network, once you do your first deal, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, if that
Mm-hmm.
deal came from like an agent,
Mm-hmm.
that agent knows that you're a performing investor. They know you successfully closed on a deal, so they know that you can successfully close on another deal.
Yeah.
So they won't hesitate bringing that your way because you've shown them, you know, that you can actually execute, right?
Right.
So that's really what we've been. It's more of a now that's coming from a place where we've tried a bunch of things, right? We can kind of say this is better.
Right.
I wouldn't do this if we went back in time. And now, what I would say to a lot of people is the consistency is the biggest thing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you
Mm-hmm.
choose to do. And also know that some things will work in certain areas, some things will not work in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you chose not to do all that and wake up at 4 a.m., putting signs up, which we didn't, I mean, we didn't do that for long too. We had to outsource that after a while. And then we got to do from then we moved to other things that worked better with us, for us.
Right.
So, certain things will work and certain things wouldn't work, and that's really something you learn by experience. But when you work with someone who has been through that, then you don't have to repeat that whole
Sure.
thing. Okay, thank you for that. So talking about funding deals, and people are always like, funding is the biggest issue. And you guys, we're still going to talk about contractors, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to hear his background and know really how we got to that point of working with contractors. And there are other things we still have to fund the property, right? So, how have you been funding in the beginning till now, till date?
Yeah, so that's a very good question because it's almost like a bottleneck for most investors, especially now where you have the market saturated with all kinds of people, and many funding partners are becoming tighter and tighter with their requirements. But I think the first thing is what we tell ourselves, or what I tell myself is, what would I do with this project if funding was not an issue? If money wasn't an issue, what will I do with it? Right?
Yeah.
Because if you have a good deal, somehow the money will come. So if on paper you've done your analysis, it's a good property, it's a good deal on paper, most sensible investors would fund it. Now, challenges will arise if you're doing it for the first time. Yes, of course. People are a little bit leery and careful on, who they lend their money to. But for the most part, generally speaking, if the deal is good, is solid, you're not just trying to make it work. You know, there's money to be made all around with an extra that can be a cushion for your inexperience. People will generally fund it. For us,
Yeah.
I think we started with um, hard money. We're lucky to find the hard money that did the funding on our first deal. Of course, we had a
With
bit of
some portion.
our own monies in there, and then gradually we built, and also we had
Yeah.
private money. We had friends, we had colleagues that had some money sitting down somewhere. I
Yeah.
believe it was like $15,000 or something like that. You
Actually,
know,
it wasn't a beat of our money. If you remember that deal correctly, it was the hard money and the private money.
and the private money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, for us, it's been those two ever since.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of over the years, we've raised a lot of private money. That's really interesting because people do have money sitting. you
Yeah.
know, you just have to offer them value. You'll be surprised. Like your coworker, your colleague, your neighbor, your friend, they have some savings. They have some money sitting somewhere in the bank or 401k, whatever, and they are really looking for value. Like if you can offer value, and that's why I said the deal itself must really be solid. It must be tempting enough. It must be clear enough. It must be attractive enough for anybody, regardless of what relationship you have with that person, to be able to see through and say, "Oh no, I can make some money here." Because if you look at it, you critically, you're actually offering value to people as well. You're not just begging them or
Mhm.
asking them for money. You're
Yeah. So how
actually
does that work?
giving them the opportunity.
Yeah.
Well,
So you're like, colleague at work, hey, I want your money, or how
oh
do you?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
Legally, you're not allowed to. That's called solicit. You're not allowed to do that. What
Hmm.
you're allowed to do right now, if you're investing in real estate, is to make it known to people that, hey, this is I'm looking into doing this, and I'm venturing into this as either a side hustle or something that I'm doing. I'm investing in real estate. I'm getting my, knowledge. I'm getting my coaching, and I'm trying to invest in real estate. Let them know that this is what you're doing, so that when you now approach them, that hey, I have a deal, and this is what this deal is worth. This is what I need to put in it, and this is how long I am going to hold it for, and this is what it's going to profit at the end of the 3 6 months. And I'm looking for partners on this to invest this amount to get that return. And you state it so clearly, so you know professionally, that they would not it basically answer whatever concerns that they have. I'm doing this for this, and this is how long I'm doing it for. This is what we're getting at the end of the day. It is insured, it is done legally. You have a note that is written, and you are added as an additional insured. You give people all the 9 yards, all the speech, and get their confidence high, and you'll be surprised. Like I said, over the years, we've raised a ton of money from people that we never met. Maybe somebody just referred them, like, oh,
Yeah.
talk to this friend of mine and talk to this. We've never seen them before. They are people that they are people that we've invested for years, and then years later we meet them.
Yeah.
So for us, that has been the strategy. Private money, talking to colleagues, friends, families, having referral. And the good thing about private money is, if you succeed in one, if you
Hmm.
succeed in one person, they get their investments with you, put down their investments with you, and then get some returns after. That one person can get you 10 other people.
They do more. Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
willing to do more.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will test you with $5,000, $10,000. The next time they come is $50,000. We've had that
Yeah.
happen to us.
Yeah.
you know
I mean, I had a friend who started with 20K, and then later on they were like 180K. I'm like, so you had
we had all
180K,
that money.
but you have to prove yourself and have them
Mm,
get that return.
mm,
It- every business is partnership. So you're either partnering with a lender who's funding your deals and getting money, you are making money, everybody else is making money, or they're actually individuals who just have money sitting, it's not
mhm.
growing, it's just dying down with inflation and everything. So
Right.
they need that help, they need you to be able to. So would you say that we had like a presentation, like PowerPoint, and or
Yeah,
how does that
yeah.
really
We
play
we,
out?
we had, and I believe we still do, although I don't do that a lot now, because we
Yeah.
don't repeat with them.
Yeah.
We had, I think it's a credibility kit,
Kids.
a credibility packet that outlines who we are, what we do,
Yeah.
what the subject property is, what we're
Mhm.
gonna do with the subject property, how long we intend to hold the subject property, what is in it for whoever is investing with us,
So just
and
break down the deal, what
break
they're
down the
getting,
deal
what you're
in a
doing.
concise, clean, and clear way. That way, when they're reading it or when you're presenting it to them, it doesn't, it oozes, confidence and you know, quality in terms of what they are seeing. So
Hmm.
we had that, and anybody can create that. The
Yeah.
credibility kits are easy to make. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and then what do I get in this deal.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know what they're going to get in the deal. So
Yeah.
once you're able to outline that, that's it. And it's so important for us to know that we don't beg people for money.
No,
We're
no,
not
we
begging
don't.
people for money. No, 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 no.
Yeah, no.
You're not forcing
You
anybody.
present everyone with an
Just
opportunity. If you
present.
want
Yeah.
it, you jump right in.
Right, right, right.
Right.
It's just an opportunity. It's either they want it or they don't. Just move to the
Yeah.
next person.
Yeah, and you move on. There, actually, over time, we didn't even need any credibility kits anymore. well because we work well with people, but there were also people even in the early stages who heard about the opportunity from
Mm-hmm.
another friend, and
Mm-hmm.
this friend said, "Oh, I can't do that, but I know someone who
Someone.
is looking for something like this." We
Mm-hmm.
connected, and that was it. Just explain the deal, explain what you're getting, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Right.
Okay. So we just say, how much have you raised in funding so far? Let's say private.
Ooh. uh, a couple of millions.
Yeah, couple
Yeah.
$1 million in private money.
Mm.
Yes. Okay. Um, so let's now get into the meat of tonight, talking about finding contractors.
Mm.
What are the best ways to find contractors on our projects?
Yeah. Contractors are very, very important for our business. As a matter of fact, contractors can either make or break a deal for you. And there needs to be a tight strategy in terms of how to get the contractors and how to get them to perform, and also how to keep a relationship with them. So for us, I think with experience, starting out, we went blind. We just went on the internet, and we put in our scope of work on the internet. I believe it was on Facebook Marketplace, and we had people reach out to us. We had contractors that were there in the marketplace reach out to us. That is surely one way to go about it. You could get contractors there. You can just go to Facebook Marketplace, Facebook investor groups,
Investor groups, yeah.
and then post your scope of work. Yeah, I'm so person. I'm doing this work in this particular area, and I'm in search of an electrician, a plumber, HVAC technician, or a carpenter, or roofer, whatever it is that you're looking for. You would get a ton of, you know, trades reach out to you. You leave your number and all their contacts, and people reach out to you. But over the years, I have discovered that the best way to get contractors will be by referral. Someone who has had an experience working with a particular trade, who is comfortable with them, referring them to you. Now, that is not to say that you won't have issues with those contractors, but the safest way to really avoid some of the pitfalls that most people get themselves into, especially first time investors, is by really getting a referral, either on the investor groups or someone who has worked with them personally, or in the past, and and they can vouch for their, number one, their character, and then number two, their skill, because you're dealing with those two things when you're dealing with contractors: their character, that's their personalities, and then their skill. You can have someone who has a horrible personality but is a very good tradesman. You can have someone who's a what do you call it now? A poor tradesman but has a very good personality. So you have to balance both. And until you've actually worked with people, sometimes you are just taking a guess. You're just, going based on what they present to you. I remember in the early days we had a meeting with a contractor who came, well dressed with a very expensive truck and a file, and met us out at Home Depot, and he was looking all contractor, and he was oozing that contractor confidence and everything. And by the time we signed with him, a colleague of ours signed with him. It was a nightmare. Like, it was just a nightmare. He was not a great person, not a great a tradesman as well, and took forever to get things done. So people can fall into those pits. But the first thing really is to have good referrals, and you can get good referrals on the investor groups. If everybody's commenting on this particular person, that's the person you want to talk to. Now, if you have one person, say a good general contractor, sometimes that's even enough for you, because all the good people know all the good people.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
true. They
so
work
so
with
if you
other good.
find someone who is say a good carpenter, you just ask him, who else have you worked with that's an electrician, and they will tell you. Try this person, try that plumber, try this person, because they know themselves. And the horrible ones, they know themselves. So sometimes that's all you need. You just need just that one person, and that one person can, lead you to other people that are good, and you pick up with time. And you also need to understand, because you're also dealing with people. Sometimes their personalities, they might be great on this project, and the next project their minds somewhere else. So what we have that is permanent is our own interests, our own projects, nothing permanent, nothing personal. So I have a scope of work for you, you get it done, do it well, and we move on to the next project.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So talking about like contractors and referrals, I came across a coach that was saying in a webinar that you know, people should not be sharing their contractor. She would not share her contractor. None of her students should go talk behind it. I don't know. Is it that personal for you? Um, do you think that referral people would actually refer their contractors? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I have been victim of that too. I've had uh times where I needed something really bad. I needed maybe a plumber really bad, and then I know that somebody that is a colleague of mine, or that I know that they have a good plumber, but they would not share their co-
Yeah,
their
the
um,
country.
their
But we
details with
do it
me.
differently. We share
Yes,
with our
we
students too,
we we
especially
we
the ones
don't
that
hold
work.
anybody. If you
Yeah,
treat people nice, they'll be loyal to you,
yeah,
regardless of where they go to.
yeah,
Yeah, you would come across people who wouldn't want to share, which is okay. I mean, everybody has their own thing.
yeah.
But there's really nothing that says, if you I mean, it's a personal conviction of mine. If you hold on to people or things
Mhm.
tight,
It will
then
diminish.
you don't get the opportunity to meet new ones that could be
Yeah,
better than the ones that you've
yeah.
held.
It's
So
like you're holding on to old stuff.
right, right. I really I love meeting new trades. There are people that I am 100% confident in their work, and I will call them every time. But there are times when you would want to, explore outside your team and get some new, fresh blood, fresh ideas, fresh people to come join. And I try to get people to come on board as well. So there are people who could withhold, information like that, but there are also people who are very willing and very, very forward. Before there's an agent, I don't remember his name right now, but I'll ask him for one person, and he will send me three, four. Each time I ask him for a plumber, I get four plumbers. He will look and look and look and call other people and send to me. So that motivated me, and each time someone asks me for, that's what I try to do. I get
Mhm,
them more so that they can, make their choice and talk to each of them and see who they vibe with and who they are comfortable working with.
mhm.
So yeah, it's not that serious to sit on
Yeah,
a particular
yeah.
trade.
And I know for students who are local, you share with them,
Yeah.
you give them all your resources. For those that are out of state or maybe finding deals out of states, I know you help them with the vetting process of
Yeah.
this contractor. You help them with like scope of work. You
Hmm.
do a lot of tours on their properties and all that stuff, which
Right.
is commendable, honestly. Not because it's our program, but I'm yet to come across a program where there is a coach that actually looks at each student's property. So, which is great. You're
Mhm.
doing an amazing job. So,
Thank
how do
you.
you vet your contractors? What are the great ways to vet contractors?
Right. So that's also a very good question. Um, I'll still go back to getting referrals. That's number one. If you find someone who has lived through a contractor's personality and skill, that person is able to help you to some degree get an idea of whether you are able to work with that contractor or not. That's one. But if you want to go by the books, also there are systems that we have in place. We have documents and contracts that we sign with contractors. Number one is you have to make sure that the contractor is licensed and insured and verifiable, licensed and insured. So if a contractor is not licensed, even though the contractor is good, he's not ready for the marketplace, because then he probably can't call for inspections, can't pull permits and all that. So he might be, staying at the periphery and just doing little jobs here and there. But if you really are a serious contractor, you really need to be licensed and you need to be insured. And if you ask a contractor, first encounter with them, are you licensed? If they say yes, can you share your license with me? And they say yes, then it means we can progress to the next step. But if you ask them, are you licensed? And they say, no, 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 I can get somebody's license to pull permit from you. There's something there. So they need to be licensed and then they need to be insured. You also want to make sure that they have good referrals. They've taken wonderful pictures. They can share addresses with you of jobs they've done in the past that you can call and verify, just to be sure that they're saying, what they're saying is actually true. You also need to assess, to make sure that they have the right tools. You might not know the right tools, but someone who comes to your job site in a uh, Kia Forte, versus someone who comes to your job site with an F-150, Raptor, or what do you call it now? They're too different.
A
They're
truck,
too different. A
because some of
truck.
us don't know those things. We
Yeah.
don't. I'm not a car
So
person, so
someone who comes with his wife's sedan to the job site, hoping to get a contract, from you, versus someone who comes with a truck, comes with his business card, comes with his truck carrying his logo and all that. All that speaks to the marketplace. So those are some of the things that you want to look out for. So you really want to have someone vet them. You really want to make sure that you can pull and do a search of their license online, and they're also insured and they're willing to add you as an additional insured on their insurance. You also want to make sure that they have jobs that they've done in the past that you can verify.
okay.
So that's some of there are a lot bunch of things we do, but there's some of the
Yeah,
things that you could look
important.
out for. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, just real quick, if you have any additional questions, please type them in the comments, and he's gonna address them one after the other. So if we are going for like the people you mentioned, like logos and stuff and license insured, should we be afraid that they'll probably be more expensive? How do we really maintain that balance? Because the reason why a lot of people go for quacks
Mm-hmm.
or people who are it's because they're cheap, right? People who are
Right.
not, maybe they're not even licensed, maybe they didn't even get to verify, but they don't want to spend a lot of money. So how do you kind of keep that balance where you're not spending too much and you're not at the same time going for the top people in the market that have
Right.
the
Right.
best trucks,
Right.
they have they go by the hour or whatever.
Right. Right.
So what do we do?
Yeah. So there are a few things. I remember again. I believe it was Ron Legrand, one of our mentors, also, who said that you're looking for. I don't know if you had that somewhere, but I had it first from him. For rehab, there are three things you're looking at. You're looking at the quality of work. You're looking at the costs. That's the price, and you're looking at the timing. So the duration of the contract, the project. So duration of the project, the cost of the project, and the quality of the project. Now you choose two. You might not get all three, but make sure you pick two. Now, if you pick price, good price, and you pick quality, it will take longer, right? If you want something done quickly and you want a good price, then the quality might be compromised. So you have to pick out what you're really out to get, right? For us, we want good craftsmanship. We want good quality work. We want it to be done in a timely manner. The price is really subjective, because many people who would come will give you different quotes. Like if you have three contractors come look at the same exact job, they will give you three different quotes, right?
And can be
You
far apart in
That can
price.
be far apart,
Really,
right?
like,
So and that's why a program like this is very important, because if you have coaches, if you have a community where you can vet some of these things. Like I want to change, I want to do rough plumbing in two bathrooms. I know in my market it's not going to cost me more than $10,000. If in your market it's costing you say $60,000, then when I look at it, I know that there's something wrong. 50,000, I know it's something wrong. Even 30,000, I know something is wrong. So you want to vet quotes based on market standards, as well as if you're in a program like this, obviously most of our students will actually go through, get their quotes through me, and I'll look at it and we can go through those pricing, and then we can pick out what is realistic. What I'm looking at is how the contractor describes what he wants to do. That will give me an idea of the quality of work, how long he wants to do that job for. If I know that that job probably will take a week and the person is saying he's going to do it in a day, then I'm concerned that he doesn't know what he's doing. Or he's going to take 3 weeks for a job that's going to probably last him 2 days. I know there's problems. So those are things that you generally look at: how long they want to do the job for, how much they're asking you for, and the quality of the work they want to do. And you will know that by the description of every scope of work, to replace that with that with that. Okay, compared to, okay, uh, fix the wall. Now, on the wall, there are so many things that could go on the wall. Electrical could go on the wall, plumbing could go on the wall, painting could go on the wall, trims could go on the wall. So, how is he describing the flow of work?
Yeah.
So once I see that, it gives me an idea as to the kind of quality that he's working with and he's able to dispense, and I can make my decision off of that. But for someone that's starting new, I would not encourage anybody to jump into that. You really want someone that can help you vet and can help you, um, make the right decision when it comes to having a final contract with a contractor.
Or you better have a lot of room if you're brand new, and better have like 20, 30,000
Yeah.
room just in case. And so would you rather lose money? I guess it doesn't make sense to lose a lot of money, but you gotta
Yeah.
double check. Some contractors actually would just give you a blanket number just to be able to get into the deal. So when
Hmm.
to the deal with low pricing, they
Yeah.
start to say, "Oh, we didn't talk about this." So they're going to go
Right.
back to that their non-detailed scope
Yeah.
of work and say this was not included.
Right.
You're like,
Right.
"Hey, you should have included it. It's your job
Right.
to
Hmm.
do the
Hmm.
trims." I'm
Hmm.
sorry, we didn't include the trim. So who's going to do the trims? So
Hmm.
that's why you need that second eye also to look at your scope of work and make sure it's detailed enough. So a contractor doesn't keep asking you for additional money.
Right, right. And I try to make sure that when I'm getting a quote, I get a quote for a labor separate and material separate. Never allow them mix them together.
That's
Okay. So it has to be, what's your cost for labor, for plumbing or doing a rough on the kitchen or changing the cabinets, and what's the cost for material?
why
All
is
right.
that?
Yeah, because if they join those, if they give you a flat price, right, then they can come up with what you just mentioned. Oh, this wasn't included. Oh, that wasn't included. But if you get someone who's professional, matured, grown-up adult contractor, he's able to tell you that I am going to change 20 locks in this house. Each lock is $50. I'm going to replace 3 windows or 4 windows. Each window is $100. The price of the window, contractor grade is $75. Builder grade is, $85 and stuff like that. You pick. That gives you a clear idea as to how much you're actually going to be in for with the project. But if they lump the price together, then they can hide under, oh, this wasn't included, that wasn't included. If you're changing a window and you come and tell me, oh, the cost to demo the window wasn't included, then I'll ask you, what was the labor for?
Right.
Okay. Or if you're asking me, oh, we did not include the cost of the trims around, then I'll ask you, what about the materials for the trims? Because in the material, I don't see you include trims. You
Yeah.
understand? So that they don't come and get you with technicalities and make you feel you did not know what you're doing. So always go for, tell me your cost for labor and tell me your cost for material. It doesn't matter. They can tell you, "Oh, we don't know what they cost. The material go up and down." Give me a ballpark figure
Yeah.
for the material.
And some people will actually duplicate. I remember you were reviewing a scope of work for a student, actually, a quote, and it had duplicates for like electricals, and you had like a bunch of questions,
Yeah,
and the price difference was already close to 50 grand
yeah.
if it was quoted correctly. So there's definitely, there is a question here saying, if a contractor does not work to your expectations, how do you handle such? And that probably leads us to managing contractors. So
Mhm.
what would you say helps you in managing?
Okay, so the first thing is, again, I'll go back to my referral. Make sure you get, if you can afford to get a good referral, get a good referral. Then
Hmm.
for your own, on your own part, doing due diligence, you have to have independent contractor agreement signed.
Hmm.
You have to have contracts signed, not their estimates. Because when you meet out a contractor, they're going to send you an estimate and they'll expect you to sign it. That's not a
That's
contract.
different.
That's an estimate. What you want to have is what is called an independent contractor agreement. And that agreement, will stipulate what the terms for the contracts are. All right. So if the person is, say, replacing 5 doors, this is the time he's starting and this is the time he hopes to finish. This is the price for the job, and this is what he's going to be paid if he doesn't deliver. This is the penalty he's going to pay if he doesn't deliver. These are
Hmm.
the terms for termination of such contracts.
Hmm.
And you also would have, we actually have like 6 contractor documents. You also will have what we call, um, uh, what do you call it now?
A
Payment schedule.
schedule. Hmm.
Payment schedule. So the first is your independent contractor agreement. The second is the payment schedule. Why payment schedule is important is because the only control you have over contractors is the money
Hmm.
that you're
Yeah.
going to pay them. So as a rule of thumb, we try never to be ahead on payment and behind on work.
Mm.
That
So
way you have
never
some
to be
leverage
ahead on payments and behind on work. What does
behind on
that
work. So what it means is, if they are charging you, say, $30,000, and they want you to give them a down payment of $15,000, you're already ahead on payment. You want to be able to make sure that you give them just what is needed for the material to get the job going, not their labor cost. So if any contractor, most contractors wouldn't ask you for that. They will start the job, and then once they get to a particular milestone, they will ask for payment. But a lot of the contractors also out there will want you to put a huge down payment upfront. And they will ask you, the job is $20,000, and somebody is asking you to put down $10,000 deposit, or put down $15,000 deposit. That's a no-no. Okay, that's why it's important to get the cost of labor and the cost of material. If the cost of labor is $10,000 and the cost of material is $5,000, it means the whole job is supposed to cost you $15,000. Now, if I'm giving a deposit, I'm giving just a portion of the material. So I'm going to give them, say, $1,000 deposit or $2,000 deposit. Let them go buy those, source for those materials, and start the job. Once they get to a particular milestone that we both mutually agree on, then I can give them part of their labor. And then, subsequently, we agree on another milestone, and then they get paid. So it must be clear, because the only influence, the only power you have over a contractor is the money that he's going to be paid. And if he feels that he already has, you know, a good chunk of that money, he will take your money and go and dump it in another job, hoping that that job will give him money to come back to yours. And then you are left hanging, your project is left there. And
Yeah.
then, you end up, losing time and then losing money. So that's the second thing, your independent contractor agreement. And then as an addendum, you have what is called the payment schedule. Both of you must agree on that payment schedule and then sign it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
I think
So
that's
these are some of the things that
yeah.
you could help with controlling. Now, if you have a non-performing contractor, I have had this as an experience, both good, bad, and ugly. If you have a non-performing contractor, the safest, quickest thing to do is to fire them. Let them go.
Yeah.
Just
And
let them
hopefully
go
you don't
as
have any
quickly
money
as
left with
possible.
them.
Yes,
Yeah, because if you're ahead on
quickly as
payments,
possible.
then you have money with them. It's not easy to
Yeah,
fire them.
to fire
That's why
them.
you shouldn't
Yes.
be ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. Let them go as quickly as possible because they would hold off your project. You'll be losing money in holding costs. You'll be losing money in project costs. And then at the end of the day, you would have to find another person to come either to finish what they've started or start all over again. So why wait for all that headache? Just let them go. This were the terms of our contract because you are not performing. I would have to let you go. As simple as that.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, we're gonna go into the final one big advice, but before that, you guys, we have a resource on vetting contractors. So if you want that, just type vets in the comments, and Kristen is gonna help you and send that over to you. All right. Can you give us one big advice um, before we leave, while people are trying to type in the comments to get their resource?
Um, It's so much to talk about.
Just one big
I would
one.
say I would say I would say be informed,
Okay.
be educated. You know, um, passion alone in this business does not cut it.
Right.
Just thinking that you're going to make money alone does not bring the money. You have to be informed. You have to have the required and necessary knowledge. And that's why I believe some of you are on the coaching call. You have to know everything that you need to know to get into the space. So for me, that's important because anybody can do this, but not anybody can make money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
That's true. Don't
you
trust HGTV.
you need to be educated. You need to have the information. You need to know what you're doing. Like we're talking about independent contractor agreements, you need to know what it is, how to get it, how to customize it, how to make it count. All right, if you don't know that, you'll just be leaning towards passion, or somebody referred you and then you start working, and then before you know it, you're in the you know in a problem, some problems with the contract. So I would advise for anybody that is doing, passion is good, but you need the education to complement it. That way, you have a solid business, not just something you're doing. And also, maybe as an additional, advice is be consistent. If it's an hour a week, you're doing this hour a day, 2 hours a day, is a consistency that produces the results that we are seeing right now. So you have to be consistent in both your learning, both you're looking for deals, both you're sending out contract. It has to be, there must be a consistent trend. You can't do it this week and forget about it next week.
Don't give up.
You
Don't give
don't
up.
don't don't do that. You have to.
Success might not be straightforward.
No, no.
Yeah.
So you have to be consistent in all this for you to get the results. It's hard work, but it's profitable work.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The most profitable work actually ever.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dari, for coming
You're welcome.
online with us. We'll still have more of you in the future. I know I
Okay.
have a lot of time for you guys. Dari is a very busy person, but has a lot of time on the back end if you end up needing him in the future.
Right.
If you have your vet's comments in there, you're all set, and Kristen is going to send that over to you. And I think that's it. So we'll call it a night. Good night, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Good night.
Always a delight to be here, and see you next week.
Yeah. Bye.